My goal for all of you guys is to own as much real estate as possible because we all know that is where you create long-term wealth. There's a lot of strategies about making money in the future, and then there's strategies about making money today. And owning the real estate is going to create long-term wealth. That's where you're going to get all the upside, right? You get the cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, mortgage paid down, and taxes. With the subleasing strategy, you still get a lot of tax benefits, but of course there's no depreciation, but it's strictly a cash flow play. That's my family there. Athena, my 6-month-old daughter, my daughter Catalea, my beautiful wife Stephanie. And we love traveling. Real estate and Airbnbs have truly given us what I call time, location, and financial freedom. And the reason we get into business is, of course, for the money, but more than anything for the time freedom. And if you structure your business correctly, if you build the right team, if you build the right systems, you can have that time freedom where you have the ability to work on your business and not in your business. I was born into a Mexican immigrant family. My dad is from Jalisco, Mexico. My mother is from Guerrero, Mexico. They never went to school. In fact, when I was 7 years old, you guys want to know the very first business we had? We were selling drugs in Santa Ana, California. That's the crazy part is the fish doesn't know that it's in the water. I thought everybody sold drugs. The second business we did is my parents used to smuggle people into the U.S. from Tijuana, Mexico. In fact, when I was 10, I used to smuggle people myself. Me and my brother would drive in with an Astro van to Tijuana. You guys probably think like, when is he gonna say I'm kidding? It's a true story. You're like, I'm waiting for that. Just kidding, guys. True story. But long story short, I was born in a family of very entrepreneurial people, except everything they did was very illegal. And what I learned is that you could have all the strategies, but if you don't have the mindset, you're always going to be the bottleneck in your business. I'm a big believer that there's no such thing as business problems, only personal problems. So when you work on yourself, all of a sudden you start to attract all the massive success. What is Airbnb arbitrage? Airbnb arbitrage is a strategy that allows you to quickly start making cash flow legally. And so I want to talk about 5 mistakes that people make when implementing this strategy and how to do these correctly. Now, let's talk about permits. This is the absolute most important part when you're looking to launch an Airbnb, whether you want to buy or sublease or start a management business, because a lot of people make the mistake where they're like, oh, this property is going to make me a lot of money. I can do cost seg. And then 6 months later, they got to shut it down because they don't have permits. So make sure that you only operate in cities where you can get a permit. Data. When you're buying a property or selling a property, we look at what? We look at comps, comparable sales. When we're looking at properties to see what their potential is to generate revenue, we look at AirDNA. You can plug in the address into the rentalizer and it'll give you the projected revenue for the next 12 months. Now, our goal, whether you own it or sublease, is to generate at least double whatever you're gonna be paying in your rent or mortgage for it to make sense. The next thing is the contract. It needs to say your name. So in my case, Jorge Contreras has permission to use this property as a short-term rental and to change the locks. Because what does it say in every lease agreement? No subleasing, because you're supposed to live in the property. Of course, when you have a conversation with the landlord and if they're open to it, you want to make sure you get permission in writing. I get tons of DMs every week of people having their Airbnb shut down, getting evicted, because they're like, the landlord found out. Is like, you should have been at the tax accelerator workshop and you would have known how to prevent that. So you want to make sure that you get permission in writing. When it comes to talking to the landlords, you don't want to mention the word Airbnb when you talk to them. They're going to think all you want to do is throw parties. So when we speak to landlords, we always tell them that we're going to do corporate housing. Why corporate housing? Because we are working with professionals, coming to the area to their provider service, or they are coming for some training. We have a strict policy on all of our Airbnbs. No parties, no events, quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. We have security cameras and noise sensors. The next thing is running the business like a job. A lot of people make this mistake because the truth is 95% of our population are employees and only about 5% are self-employed or investors. But even about 2% of the 5%, they're still running the business like a job, right? If you're not there, the business stops running and you stop bringing in money. You want to make sure from the beginning that you guys always hire an integrator. Anytime I'm starting a new business or a new arm to an existing business, the first thing I ask myself, who's going to be the operator? Who's going to be the integrator? Because I'm the visionary. I need someone that can execute. You don't build the business, you build the people, and the people build the business. The great Tony Robbins. Let's talk about building a team, how to go into a little bit of the automation. So I love this website, Upwork, because you could choose certain countries that you could hire people. Now, the great part is that when you are looking for someone to do your communications for Airbnb, you're gonna find people on Upwork that have already been doing communications and managing for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Let's talk about hiring a cleaner and a maintenance person. So for myself, I always use social media as a tool. And I ask people, I'll say, hey guys, I'm looking to hire someone to do cleaning, in Los Angeles or this part of Orange County. That's always a resource. Of course, Yelp. Who's used TaskRabbit before? So TaskRabbit is a website where you could hire anyone to do anything. So you could hire people to do cleaning, people to assemble furniture, all that stuff. Keyless entry, again, you want to automate the entrance and exit, give a code to each and every person. We create a Slack. So with Slack, obviously you have your workplace, and then each channel is a property. So we have 18 channels. If I go to channel number 12, which we always name by the property street address, we have the cleaner, the maintenance person, the VA, the property manager, myself, and if I have a business partner on that one. Everyone's inside of that channel, and this way we just streamline communications. The next thing is you always want to have boots on the ground. Now, when you're getting started, if you can't afford to have a property manager, your boots on the ground will be the cleaner. It's like I always call it having a runner, right? From time to time, guests are gonna need something, the property's gonna need something, and you might need somebody to run down to the property, and you don't want it to be you. And the challenge is if you hire somebody to do cleaning and all you do is pay them for that, and all of a sudden you start assigning these additional roles and responsibilities, they're gonna be like, hey, that's not part of the agreement. So you wanna have that conversation from the very beginning and let them know, like, hey, anything the property needs, anything the guests need, it's gonna be your responsibility. Again, it allows you to work on the business and not in the business. So with Instacart, I remember in Thanksgiving, the oven went out or they couldn't get it to work. So we Instacarted an oven and it got there in 45 minutes and they were able to, cook a turkey and all that stuff. So with Instacart, you could pretty much deliver anything from small appliances to even just, fruits, veggies, or if you want to send them coffee, whatever it is. It's just another great resource in order to create more automation. So we want to charge for a nightly rate 10% of whatever the rent or mortgage is. So if my mortgage or my rent is $4,000 a month, I want to be able to charge $400 a night. I want to be able to break even at 10 days, double my rent at 20 days, and have an opportunity to triple my rent. Now, what types of properties do I go for? So these are the types of properties that I like to set up. I go for single family homes. If I'm subleasing, it must already be renovated. 3 important things when possible is for the property to have a pool, a jacuzzi, and a game room. The next thing, you want to make sure there's parking for 2 vehicles. The next thing is hosting 8 to 12 people. And I already mentioned you want properties that are near downtown, the beach, the theme parks, wherever the action is. Anything that you could put on a debit card, you should be putting on a credit card, paying it off within 30 days to have no interest, and then you could just travel for free. The name of the game is leverage. That's how we're able to have these all-inclusive experiences, vacations like I showed you earlier. The next thing is utilizing a cash advance, right? One of the things about ultra wealthy and successful people is that we almost never use our money. We always want to leverage OPM. This is a cash advance. The availability from a credit card goes into a checking account. You get 0% interest for up to 21 months, and you pay a one-time 3% fee. Once that money is in your checking account, you could do whatever you want. You could pay the first month's rent, the deposit, the furniture, or whatever. And then, of course, you would use the cash flow from the Airbnb to then pay off the credit card. And the powerful thing is you never have to use any of your money. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.